I've chosen the fabrics that I'm going to use for the Lemoyne Star, and I have cut several strips out of them. One 2.5 inch by width of fabric of one colour and the same of another colour. These whites aren't full length, it's like a fat quarter that I'd got left over, so I thought I'll use it, and I should be alright not having that bit on it, and I should get 2 out of it. But if you've got some fabric for the background, then you can do the width of fabric, but I'm just using the bits up I've got. So now we'll sew them longwise together, those two and those two, 1/4 inch seam allowance. I have sewn them together, 1/4 inch seam, and I have pressed them to the pattern side, the coloured side, and left the white because otherwise they're going to show through. And I've laid them right sides together, and you can feel through them if they're lined up. Don't worry about lower down, you can readjust that when you get to it. Now there's 2 ways of cutting them. You can either put the edge, if you've got a triangular, a diamond ruler, you can either put that on your seam and then put your straight edge ruler against it, or you can find the 45° on your ruler, which is 45 there. Now that for me would be awkward because I would want to make the cut this side, but I can do it. I just move around the other side of my desk. So I'll put the 45° on there, but that's not going to work either. Let's turn the rule around. 45° on your stitch line, and they've become, that's it, on level. Do that again, 45° on your stitch line. Make sure that it doesn't go off at all, and you will get the whole of that on it because that's your first cut. So to keep that there, I put a weight on it and come round the other side of my desk and then safely cut. Now I know I didn't go through the seam because there are several layers there, but that is the first cut. I'm having a bad hand and bad camera day. The first initial cut, my hand shook. The second 2 cuts, I've not pressed for the camera to be on, so I'll do them again. This is your first initial cut, 2.5 inches from that edge, and it's 2.5 inches because this is 2.5 inches. If this was 1.5 inches, you would only need to cut 1.5 inches, but it's 2.5 inches, so that's what we cut. Turn your ruler and line up more or less on your seam, about 1/4 of an inch above your seam. If you've pressed them down, if you press them up, just go from the edge of the fabric. And then that's the right side, and you would sew that to there. That's the right side, and you sew that to there. So I'll show you that again. So that's 2.5 inches. Put your line. Want it 1/4 of an inch above your seam, and then cut down here. And that's all it is, and you need 4 of these for each star. So I'll cut these out and then stitch them together. So I've pressed these back, I've pressed them again to the darker fabric, and they will go together exactly like that, and they will fit lovely. Where you've added these triangles on, you can do it at a later date. I just prefer to do it now. I put them down, line my rule up with the cut edge of the darker fabric, and then I can trim up the background fabric. That'll make it easier when you come to put them together. Again, with the darker fabric, line it up and trim. And then you take it back to your machine and sew them together like that. But you can't see. Take it back to your machine and sew them together right down the middle, 1/4 of an inch. Here's one that I've already done, trimmed up and the sides, and then once they're done you can press them, and you're basically putting them together now like a full patch, just making sure you match up inside the corners. So when I've done that on all of them and press them, I'll show you. And there we have the Lemoyne Star pressed together. Seams, I've got them all pressed basically towards the darker fabric because I don't want it showing through the white. Now it's a little bit on the lumpy side, which you can get with this easily, but at least all the points match, and once it's quilted up you will not notice this puffiness when it's actually sewn to something else. Now you could turn this into add more and make a table topper, table runner, even more still, do a quilt, just the one, add borders to it and make a pillow, a cushion cover, same as I did with the blue ones, well, teal ones, but there's so many different things you can do with them. You can even turn it into a pot holder if you want. I don't know what I'm going to do with this at the moment, so it's going to go on my design wall as a I'll think about it. and possibly use it doing something else. Bye.